Hi, dear students, how are you? And this is a very personal session where I'm trying to answer a few life-based, personal-based or profession-based questions raised by students to me on my personal platforms. This is a way by which I try to pay back to the community that has given me a lot. And I have been teaching MBBS students for the past 11 years, and I have been training the postgraduate entrance exam students for the past 12 years, and I have had recently decently good enough number of cases of personal issues that have been coming to me, and I have been a shoulder for the many people who cry in terms of needs. And in a non-judgmental way, I have listened to many people, and I try my best never to judge a student, because whenever he comes to me with any kind of trouble, I do my best to help him understand things. So this is a session, and I name this session as a few life questions answered. I try to answer a few life questions raised by students to me. I will try to give my solutions to you. Before we do that, let me give you a small introduction. I am Dr. Meenakshi Sundaram AS, MBBS MD, gold medalist in MD exams, and I'm a high octane educator for biochemistry and microbiology for the past 11 years, and I have been successful in placing many students in the top educational institutions in India. And there is some plus subscription on Unacademy. You can take the plus subscription with daily live classes, live tests and quizzes, structured courses, unlimited access to all the classes, and you can use the code DRASM live, DRASM live, or you can use DRASM for 10% discount on your subscription and unlimited access to all my free classes and plus classes. And there is an iconic subscription which gets the best of Unacademy's live classes and best of Preplara's recorded sessions. And you have a raise a hand session. This is a feature where you can try to click on the link that is given in the live class. You can ask me questions. And there are many special class features including interactions, polls, and you will be having notifications whenever there is a class that happens for which you have enrolled. And you can boost your medical preparation with your Unacademy subscription by taking 24-month subscription with 4 months free and 12-month subscriptions with 2 months free. And you have an exam day and monthly free grand test exam. Next test is on 31st of October. So there is also a target NEET PG 2022 batch and clinical case discussions batch. You can join any of these and make your preparation stronger. So let's crack it. Okay. So let me raise the questions that are raised to me in front of you. So I will read it from the device that I have received all my queries. Okay, let's go for the first question. As the questions have always been anonymous from my side, unless the student wants the question to be put forward, I won't be revealing the data about the students who have raised the question to keep anonymity so that he will not feel or she will not feel bad about it. The first question: constantly doubting if what I am doing now will benefit people, as many doctors are there already. Okay, this person is doing MBBS. He is asking a question. He's consistently feeling like he is feeling very insignificant in a sea of many doctors. Now, let me remind you one thing. We all have certain kind of requirements and needs. Sometimes we have preferences. Preferences will always be giving you options to think of. What am I trying to say here? See, for a person who is extremely hungry, he will first want food. He will not ask you for tasty food or delicious food. But if at all a person is moderately hungry and moderately satisfied, then he thinks of having only very delicious food. And if at all the patient or the student or any kind of person is completely full, even if you bring him the tastiest of food, he will not think of going for the food. Why do I tell this? See, the whole wide world, whenever doctors are actually being clustered in areas, they are generally cities. Why? Because in cities, you will be having a lot of opportunities for jobs to get more money, to have exposures. If you want treatment for your own kin and your family, you will be getting them. If you want any kind of needs to be satisfied, a city will be able to offer you entertainment and services at the same time. So many doctors prefer to go and cluster in the cities. But if at all you take the dynamics of the whole nation is for 1.3 billion population. In such an area, can you guess the number of doctors who are working for these kind of people? It is a very minuscule portion. So there are many people who keep on asking about saturations in any kind of department. Saturation in departments are always the norm. It can happen regularly. But every single day a new patient is getting generated and you need more and more kind of doctors to treat more number of patients. Now, when you say you're constantly doubting what is your role in it, first the thing that you have to ask yourself is whether you are compassionate. What is the purpose of you joining MBBS? Before we all joined MBBS, we kept saying that we want to want to become a doctor. For example, I want to become a cardiologist or a nephrologist and I want to save patients. That kind of feeling slightly dissipates away when we enter into MBBS because we don't feel like saving others, we feel like saving ourselves. When we try to save ourselves, in the whole gist of saving ourselves, we forget the world. So it is quite natural if at all you feel like you're deviating from the path of your intentions. The first process is to save yourself, pass every year in MBBS without any kind of backlogs, then try to crack the exam of NEET PG and then go back to your specialty, then you crack SS and then go for super specialty. By the time you do all these things, you'll be very tired. You just want to earn for yourself and for your family. That is possible. But for your question, what is the exact answer? Even if you actually become the only kind of doctor, the kind of stress you will be facing and the kind of ridicule that you will be facing will be the same. If there are so many kinds of doctors, still they will have the same kind of ridicule and the same kind of problems they are facing. So it doesn't matter if there are so many doctors out, whether you are the shining stone amongst many doctors. Imagine if there are 100 doctors in your community and you are the only person who has the heart to deal with another kind of patient. When you actually deal emotionally with the patient and click with the emotions of the patient will not see whether you are the most intelligent doctor, you're the most handsome doctor, or you're the most influential doctor. He will come to you if he feels that when he talks to you, his sadness is decreased, his happiness and secure sensation increases. So my answer to you is, do not feel left out in a huge whole world of people where there are so many doctors. You are not insignificant. Remember this golden lines. You will not be remembered for your success. You will not be remembered for your achievements. You will not be remembered for how much you earned or how much you gave people. But you will be remembered for how you made other people feel in your presence and their presence. And if the kind of feeling you're giving to the patients is very good, you are always a doctor who will never be forgettable. So never doubt your importance in the field of medicine. Okay? All the best. Okay. Next question. It's a girl. How to skip overthinking, sir? I read novels, but still I'm stuck over the same. I'm not in any kind of relationship. Okay. This question is not very clear, but let me tell you. Overthinking is evolution's way of keeping you very safe. Evolution is trying to teach you how to be safe. Why? For example, if at all you have gone through some kind of life situations regularly, when an adverse situation comes in front of you in a very sudden flash of light, you will be extremely broken down. When a bad thing happens to you in a sudden spark, you would have actually been very depressed and you would have been broken down. You would have gone through such kind of situations. So the next time what you do is you start anticipating things. When you start anticipating things, you feel like the more you anticipate, the more you will be ready for it. The previous time you weren't ready, so you were caught unprepared. So you want to be prepared right now. But the problem is, when you start overthinking, you will create 100 different kinds of results for a given problem and a solution. If at all there is a situation, you think of multiple other kinds of outcomes for the same area. And remember, out of the 100 outcomes you think, 99 of them will be bad outcomes. Very rarely 1 or 2 can be good outcomes. But let me tell you a secret. The more the kind of bad outcomes you anticipate, the lesser the chances they can become true. Have you ever understood this? You would have recreated the situation so many times in your mind. You would have imagined what can go wrong when in so many number of hours. But at the end, you will realize out of the 99 things that you thought will go wrong, not even 1 went wrong, or not even 2 went wrong, or not even 3 went wrong, like how you imagine. So you are trying to build up the situation and you are blowing it out of proportion in such a way you do not want to come out of it because you want to be prepared. It's okay to be prepared, but please remember the golden line. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. When you start preparing for the worst, you have forgotten the concept that you have to hope for the best. So overthinking is a way of trying to keep yourself protected. Sometimes let go of things. Sometimes accept things the way they are. The more you start accepting the things they are, the more the amount of peace that will bestow upon you. Why am I saying this? Because the normal people are those who try to change things at a regular basis. Wise people are those who realize that there are certain things which cannot be changed and they accept it. Once you start accepting the things that are actually not capable of being changed, then you will be at peace. Because imagine yourself at any given point of situation that is actually annoying you or bothering you, you are actually being bothered because you're responding to it and you're continuously thinking of how to respond to it. But if you decide, let things be the way they are, what can I do about it? If you can't do anything about it, why are you bothered? If you can do something about it, do it. Why are you bothered? Let me repeat the lines once again. If you can do something about the situation, do it. Why are you bothered? If you can't do anything about the situation, don't do anything. Why are you bothered? In both the situations, you don't have to be bothered. So stop overthinking. And not being in a relationship is not the only way by which you are actually immune from being overthinking. If you are in a relationship, you will start thinking and overthinking about the partner and the way you both are coming together. If you're not in a relationship, everything else also will be a bother. So relationship or not, overthinking is always a way by which you are trying to trouble yourself. The more the anxious you are, you will realize that you are continuously busy doing absolutely nothing. So relax yourself, let go of the things that you cannot change. Next person, this is also a girl. A friend tells he wishes the best for me, yet tries to nag me with his failed relationship thoughts. No matter how much I tell, it's bothering my happiness. He keeps showing all the anger towards me. I really want this person to be happy and I've tried everything possible. He still keeps staying toxic. Okay, that's a wonderful message. Not only you, there are many people who are going forward to this. Now, right now in the new generation, they have come up with the words like toxic relationships. Like 20 years back, the concept of toxic relationship as a word was not defined. Now, any kind of relationship where one person is trying to make the other person continuously uncomfortable and trying to put the person down many times and is not allowing the peace of mind to occupy him or not allowing him to grow personally or professionally, you block it and you call it as toxic relationship. See, it need not be a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, father, mother, even mere friends. That is also a type of relationship that you talk about. And this girl is saying that his close friend or her close friend or the friend might have been a girl or a boy, I'm not very sure. That person continuously talks. Yeah, it is he. So the person continuously talks about his failed relationship. See, whenever somebody is talking to you about the bad and the worst things that have happened to him, it is a way of cribbing. He has so much amount of sadness inside him that even though he is continuously pouring it out, it is keeping getting regenerated. The first thing that you have to do is stop giving a positive feedback whenever he gives you something that is sad. For example, what do you mean by that? Please don't misunderstand my words. Listen, if he keeps telling you sad things, don't be like, oh, is that so? Oh my God, so sad. Do not give these kind of expressions. If you have done it for a very long time, stop it. What you're supposed to do, you tell him. Every time he says something sad, ask him the question, so what? Ask him again, so what? Keep on asking him again, so what? If he says, my girlfriend is not actually picking up my calls, so what? The girlfriend is actually going around someone else, so what? My girlfriend has broke up with me, so what? You keep on asking the questions. At some point of time when he keeps giving you an answer, for every answer he gives you, keep repeating it saying, so what? He'll be slightly annoyed with you, but ask him, what is exactly bothering him? Now, if at all he cannot actually be close with someone, that should not be the reason by which he should be away from you. He should not be a burden in such a way that you will start resenting him. So what you do, whenever he tries to bring up the topic, try to divert the topic. If at all he keeps on bringing it up again and he says, are you not my best friend? Why are you not listening to me? It is the sadness I'm pouring out. You tell him one thing. If you keep talking to me the same sad things again and again, it is disturbing my peace of mind and this sadness will reflect on you and you will not be happy in my presence. Do you want that? Now keep asking the same thing in 3 different situations. In all the 3 different situations, he comes back and again talks the same thing. Then tell him, if you keep doing it, you will lose my relationship. Why? Because my peace is more important than your peace. I want you to be peaceful. But if you can't be peaceful, why should I not be peaceful? At least let me be peaceful. I deserve to be peaceful. Just because I am your friend, do you think I should sacrifice my peace of mind so that you also will lose your peace and I also lose my peace? Never. You do not have to lose your peace, because peace of mind is nothing is worthy of your peace of mind. Okay, remember this. Okay, if you are worried that the friend may actually be very hurt and he will leave you forever, it's okay. Good friends will always come back to you. This friend needs some amount of time off, and please keep on telling him good things. If at all he gives you a bad perspective, try to bring a good perspective at some point of time. You keep on doing it. For example, he says the girlfriend is not talking to him, then you tell him it's good, because if your girlfriend is talking to you and you will be focusing on that girlfriend, then you will also be in a conversation, you will waste your time. Instead, focus on somebody else. If at all he says his girlfriend is very pretty, show another girl and say this girl is even prettier than her. That I'm not saying that you want him to actually go behind the other girl. I'm just saying that give an alternative perspective whenever he is giving you. And in spite of it, if he's being very adamant, stop talking to him for a very long time. If it is for a short time, if he turns, it's okay. If he's not going to turn, if he's not going to change, then keep actually ignoring him for a very long time. Why? Because these kind of people will always take your energy and try to give back the negative energy, which can actually affect you. Your positivity will be coming down, the negativity will be increasing in his presence. So the more he understands that you're moving away from him, he'll try to grab you. You don't show him that you're trying to move him away. You tell him that you're trying to move away, so that he will consciously make efforts to become a different person. You don't have to cut the relationship so fast. Just slowly keep telling him every single day until he understands. If you could show some patience and restraint, he will definitely be your friend and he will actually come out of the toxic relationship. I wish that for you. Okay, next scenario. Taking a lot of years to pass the exam. Understandable. It's not just you. There are some people who will not be able to get into the sync with certain situations. For example, I have seen people who do not like engineering. They go into engineering, they come out of engineering, but they still be having 30 papers, 40 papers, 50 papers, or even 20 papers of uncleared papers. So they will be taking a very long time to move forward. In MBBS, many people have actually taken MBBS either out of brute force from their parents or because of compulsion from society, or they thought MBBS was a very beautiful subject. When they came inside, they start hating the subject. The one thing that you need is a small break. Not a break of 6 months or 1 year. Take a break of 1 month. And then ask yourself, re-evaluate your situation. Is MBBS going to be the only thing that that is the only thing you ever wanted in life? The first step is to ask yourself whether you really want to do the MBBS. The second thing is, look for the areas where you have failed very badly. If, for example, you have to clear 3 papers, you're clearing only 2 papers, 1 paper is actually pending, then ask yourself why exactly that paper was actually a flaw for you. See, failing in MBBS is not always a bad thing. There are many people who passed in first attempt, but they got very poor marks in the entrance exam. But there are many people who wrote the same exam 3 to 4 times because they failed. But because they failed in one particular subject, they studied the same subject for 2 or 3 times, or at least 6 months extra. They actually have more mastery in the subject, because of which they were able to crack the entrance exams better. You can be that kind of person. 2 choices. One is, ask yourself why you're failing in it. And if that subject is weaker, then you have to work even harder. But this is a very easy thing to say. But if at all you go for the second option, ask yourself, never give up hope on taking more amount of time and duration to pass the exams. Once you pass the exams, you are settled for life. But before you pass the exam, you are taking a lot of time to study, right? That every single moment is to have a very strong foundation. It may look funny, but the stronger the foundation is, when you come out, you will be having a lot of strong attraction towards the subject than other people who fast in one single go. Okay, so all the best for you. My girlfriend left me for the past 2 months. I can't able to focus on studies, sir. Okay. This is a very common question asked to me on many occasions. Many students have asked me this question. What if my girlfriend leaves me? What if my boyfriend leaves me? See, this is the kind of answer I would like to always give you. You were born without actually having any idea whether the girlfriend or your boyfriend existed or was born or to be born. You had no idea. So before you came into the relationship, the boyfriend and girlfriend that you're speaking about wouldn't have actually made sense at all to you. There are many times you'll realize that if at all a very average looking person was an average looking person all the time. But the moment that person becomes your boyfriend or your girlfriend, the person looks more attractive. Now, do you know when the attraction coefficient is the most? Not actually during the relationship, in the initial phase of the relationship and before getting into a relationship, the person will be attractive. Once you go into the deeper parts of the relationship, you will not be so attracted to each other. And once the relationship is over, then the other person looks extremely attractive to you. That is where you'll be like, did I miss something great? Yes, that is all natural. Why? Because human beings, like any kind of animal, will not be able to appreciate what they have while they have what they have. They will start thinking that the other thing is extremely precious only when they think they have lost it. This is the truth that you have to agree and accept. Now, when your girlfriend was there with you or your boyfriend was there with you, you might have had shared a lot of memories. Those memories will keep on haunting you again. For example, if you're very intimate people and you had public displays of affection, so you went to different public places together, and if that was in the same city as where you both were studying. Now, if you have taken a breakup from that particular girl or your boy, you go to the same places, those places will keep on reminding you of the same good times that happen. What is the good thing about, what is the very weird thing about memories? When you have very good memories in the past, you will be actually crying at it in the present. If you had very bad memories in the past, from the past, you will be laughing at it. So memories are very weird. If at all you had very bad things happening in the past, then right now you'll be very happy that you're relieved that the bad things are not happening anymore. But if you had very good memories to share, then those good memories will come back to tell you that you don't have them right now. That is why you become sad. The same thing in case of any kind of dreams. When you have very emotional dreams, a very scary nightmare dreams are actually coming and hurting you. And when you wake up from the dream or a nightmare, you'll be relieved, oh my God, I'm actually not feeling this nightmare right now. I'm not living it. And if at all you have a wonderful dream, when you wake up, you become sad. Why? Because the good thing that happened, that sweet thing that happened was only in the dream. It is not in the real life. So right now, your ex-girlfriend is like a dream from the past. Now you can't keep holding on to the good things in the past and spoiling the present and the future. The past is always past. When you go in a car, the rear view mirror is actually small, but the windshield wiper is so huge. This is a very common saying. I'm telling you again, in a car, it's a very common saying. In a car, the rear view mirror is very small, the windshield wiper is huge. Why? Because you have to see what is ahead of you more than what is behind you. What is behind you should be seen only to redirect your activity to make sure you are safe. But what you're supposed to do is to move forward, look forward. If you don't keep looking forward, you will miss the beautiful thing called as journey. And life is a very beautiful journey that is lived only once. So what you do is try to suppress all the areas which can actually trigger your memories. How can you do that? If at all, you're a person who's always stalking your girlfriend. You stalk your girlfriend online or offline. For example, you know where your girlfriend will be coming at 5 p.m. in the evening. You go at 4:30 p.m. and start seeing whether the girlfriend is coming back again to this area or not. What kind of dress is she wearing? Who is she coming with? Who is she talking with? Is there a boy, another boy involved? All these things will tear into your brain and take away your peace of mind in such a way. Every single day will be horrible to you. Instead, tell yourself, the girlfriend is right now my ex-girlfriend. Let her be happy. From the bottom of my heart, I am telling you, you should be happy. This is what you should talk to yourself about the girlfriend. Tell this to yourself, I am actually happy because the girlfriend is not there in my life. It's sad because some good memories are not there. But right now, I am okay. I am not dependent on somebody. I am not addicted. I am not an addiction candidate. I do not want the addiction abuse to actually spoil my life. I want my girlfriend to be away from me. Tell this in a very calm tone and believe the words you are saying. These words should not be the words to just reflect from what I am telling you. You have to imbibe these words and believe that and tell yourself and accept it that the girlfriend is not there anymore. The more you try to claw back to the girlfriend will start running away from you. Instead, you can forget the person by actually letting go of all the things that can remind you. For example, if you have a number, remove the number. If at all you do, if you are thinking that the number is she is capable of calling you back, block the number. And if at all you had past messages, delete all the messages unless they are important documents of studies. If at all study materials, if it's there, they keep them. Otherwise, you can remove all the things. Do not have any memories. And if at all you practice something for 21 days, it is obvious that you can break any kind of habit or you can form a new habit. And if at all you stop thinking about for 8 months, then definitely that person will not even be having any kind of trace in your life. Remember, if you can work 21 days very hard on your own skills without thinking about the person, one fine day you'll wake up and you'll feel like you're completely free of the thought of that particular person. That is when your mind is completely independent. There is a difference between independence and freedom. Freedom means the ability of you to do anything that you want. Independence means doing things you want without actually needing somebody to help you. So independence can be obtained by you only when your thoughts are completely uncluttered. You will be letting go of the person completely. When you do that, you are a king of the world. And the day when you wake up in the morning and you realize that you are not anymore obsessed with the person, that is the day where your happiness begins. And that day is not very far, it will happen. But meanwhile, keep focusing on the studies. Tell yourself the books are the best kind of lovers that you can have. Why? See, be it he is your best friend or she is your most beautiful girlfriend, the more the amount of time you want to spend with either the friend or a girlfriend, the other person is forced to take a step back, because there should always be some kind of balance in any kind of relationship. Balance in relationship is a beautiful thing. Only when both of them are equally offering love, that relationship is stronger. Imagine this, if one person has a very strong affection to the other person, while the other person's affection is lesser, then this person will be obsessed with this person wants to go away from the person. If you are in love with someone whom you love lesser, the other person loves you more, you will not be able to accept the fact that the other person is nagging you every single day. And if at all you are in love with the person who loves you lesser than how much you love them, then you will be the nagger and you always want to go behind the person will start hating you and resenting you. You do not want that to happen. So if you do not want that to happen, then make sure you try to let go of the person completely. Okay? All the best. Good evening, sir. Currently doing my rural bond from medical college and workload is more. Okay, I'm not able to understand your complete problem, but if you think the rural bond is actually in a medical college and the workload is more, there is nothing that can be done about it. I am not the best kind of person to give you a solution on this. Why? Because a bond is a bond. It's a legal kind of activity. So when somebody is stressing you out, the only thing you can do is mentally block everything else out. Do your work in a systematic fashion. See, for example, if you have a workload, I'll tell you how I manage my workload when I was an intern. I'll be having 42 patients at least in one single unit, and we were not only supposed to examine the patient in the morning, in the evening and in the night once, we also were supposed to offer the dues, for example injections and tablets. The particular unit chief in medicine was exactly very specific that we go to every single patient and take not only the physical examination vital status by auscultation and palpation and percussion, we also have to elicit everyday history, we also have to talk to the patient, and we have to inject the right kind of injections to the person and to check whether they have taken the right kind of tablets. For example, out of 42 people in the medicine ward, more than 30 people will need injections. Imagine if I load the syringe and then inject to a patient, at least it will need 10 minutes. And if I am doing it for 30 patients, it needs 300 minutes. 60 minutes for 1 hour, 300 minutes for 5 hours. I have to do it in the morning and the evening. So it means 10 hours a day I should have spent on the patient like this. So how do I manage it? First, I make a list of all the patients who require penicillin or ceftriaxone or ceftaxone. Then I make a list of all the patients who may require metrogyl infections. So when I make a list, I combine all the common things and I arrange all the syringes in order, and then I load the common kind of drugs at the same time, effectively removing 2 to 3 hours of work in loading and injecting. Then I go around all the patients in the beds and say, all of you get ready in the sequence of events. The moment I walk in, please keep your shoulder or keep your gluteus ready for the injection. When I set in action a systematic function, then the moment I do it, I was able to cut down on the amount of time that was actually run out as wastage. So when I did this, instead of spending 10 hours both the times a day, that is Both the times a day combined together, when I was able to spend 10 hours, what I was able to achieve was I was able to do the same thing in 4 hours. So it means morning 2 hours, evening 2 hours. So I was able to bring down 6 hours of work which would have been spent without actually having any kind of thoughts. But that didn't mean that the remaining 6 hours I was actually kept free. Now, when the doctor saw that I was actually having that free time of 2 to 3 hours, he again gave me a new task. But what happened, because I was able to do it on a regular basis, I got the skill and the speed to execute functions. The more the skill I have, the faster the things I do. Now, if at all there are two people who are doing the same skillful activity, the one who is actually doing it more number of times will be fluent in doing it. While looking at it, you will be able to say whether he has done it many times or not. Is it not? Ask yourself, if there are two people doing the same thing which requires physical activity, you will be able to say very clearly who is more fluent. And the more the fluent the person is, the more the history of having done it many times. Practice makes man perfect. And if at all the rural bond is actually taking a lot of stress, do not worry. The more you do these physical activities and the more the examinations and the critical works you do, the more the kind of impinging, passive learning you get. Whatever you did to a patient will impinge on your mind. You can answer clinical questions better. Clinical questions can be answered better. For example, you'll be working under 2 or 3 people and every person will have a different decision-making skill, different diagnostic skill, and they will be doing the kind of management, and you will know what kind of management will be suitable for which kind of patient when you keep on facing more number of patients. The more the number of patients, the more the better your answer will be. And that is what I would wish for you. So don't be frustrated. Take it on your stride. One person has both personal and professional problems. Personal problem is low family status. It means low socioeconomic status, many responsibilities on the head. Professional, can I become a good doctor in spite of my low academics? Yes, for both the questions. See, if your family socioeconomic status is slightly lower and you have more responsibilities to do, it is slightly a very sad thing. Sad from anyone's point of view. Because at the age where you are a student, you should be very happy without having much of responsibilities and enjoy your life. You're getting responsibilities. But what is the good thing in it? The more the responsibilities you get, the more the chances you're getting exposed to different difficulties. Now, you can either feel sad and be completely broken because of this situation, or you can pick yourself up and tell yourself that you are the best in the given situation. See, I have known 2 of my best friends being into the opposite situations. One fellow was always spoon-fed and the fellow was always been a very happy situation. His family always catered to his needs. But when he went abroad, he was not able to take care of himself. Whatever problem he faced, he had to call back to his family to ask for solutions. But there was one more friend where he always came from a very poor background and a humble background, but he worked for everything. He was not spoon-fed anything. If he wanted to learn something, he will have to go to the books and learn it. If you want to learn something in the ward, he has to go to the ward, beg people or borrow things from people and get it. So nothing came to him easy. Because nothing came to him so easy, he knew the techniques by which he was able to acquire things. He knew where to acquire things, what kind of sources he can look for, and how to actually extract what he needs from those sources. When he has the knowledge about these 3 things, it will come in handy in the rest of your life. In the rest of your life, when in the early adulthood you are actually facing all these things, the next part of your life is going to be easier. See, there was one more friend of mine who was crying and cribbing saying that, oh my God, all my other classmates have doctors as their parents. I am the first doctor in my family. How will I ever be great? Now, for which another friend of mine gave this advice. He said, see, the X had his grandmother being a doctor, mother and father being a doctor, and now he has come to do MBBS. Now, he actually is not great because his grandmother will be known in the whole community as the doctor who became the first. Now, that responsibility is lying in your head. It is not only a responsibility, it's a honor to be the first doctor in your whole generation of family. You are going to create a new generation. So whenever your son or grandson becomes a doctor, or the friends of your grandsons are actually talking to them after they become the doctor, they will always remember with fond memories saying that this was the first doctor in my family. Looking at him, I was able to make it. So if you have a chance to generate a new generation, Do it in a very beautiful fashion. The whole world will be actually crazy about you. They will be amazed about you. They admire you and they'll be a little jealous about you also. Martin Luther King Jr. said the statement, even if you are a street sweeper, sweep the streets in such a beautiful way that the angels who pass through those streets will go back to heaven and report to God and say, nobody can sweep those streets like this fellow. If a street sweeper is able to do this, a doctor should also be able to do this. And if you can actually save lives with such a beautiful kind of work ethic, nobody in the world can beat you. And that is the kind of generation you are going to generate. Okay. Can I become a good doctor in spite of low academics? Yes. Academics is the way by which you're being tested in what you're doing. But when you actually start practicing, it requires skill. Academics is the way you interact with their books and give exams. When you go into a real life situation where you're dealing with a patient, the more the number of patients you see, the more the experience you get. For example, you become a surgeon. The first time you try to go for an IV line, you will make so many mistakes and you'll be having flutters and tremors everywhere. But when you start doing your 10th time, the 11th time, the 12th time, they become better compared to that of the first time. When you do it for the 1000th time, you will start laughing at yourself how bad you were when you did it the first time. Likewise, in terms of surgeries also, when you actually perform the same surgery, for example, a hydrocele surgery you're performing for the first time, your hands will be trembling. But if you do the same surgery after 1000 times or 2000 times, then you'll realize how bad you were in the first time and how beautiful, amazing you are on the 2000th time. So you can become definitely a better person in spite of having low academics. Don't worry about it. How to manage the feeling of needing a partner, feelings that starts in final year. Okay, I understand. Okay, that's a good question. See, you're lucky if at all you have not been caught up in any kind of relationship as of now. You're really lucky if you haven't been caught up in any kind of relationship as of now. Why? Because relationships always take emotional toll on you. They will always expect more from you. And you always have to be on your toes for the other person. Even if the other person is a very gentle and a harmless person, still there are some basic requirements and expectations from any relationship. They say true love has no expectations. But truth be told, if you love someone so deep, you'll always expect something good from that other person. So, especially in a final year, if at all you look at the people who are actually having a breakup, you will realize that your life is 1000 times better. There is a wonderful saying. See, when you are single, wherever you go in a park, you always see happy, committed people. But when you're married or when you're committed, when you go into the same park, wherever you see, you'll be having to see happy singles. That is actually a joke, but it has some amount of truth in it. Please think about it once again. See, getting into a relationship is not a big deal if you find the right person. But once you get into a relationship, you have to give enough amount of time, money, efforts at regular situations. And this can actually be put to the best use if you do it with your books. Because books are the only group of people who will never actually take a back step when you try to offer more amount of love. I told you in a previous discussion, just 10 minutes back I told you, right? If you actually try to go behind somebody, they'll always try to take a back step. But if you go behind your books and your study materials more and more, or to your education and patience more and more, you'll never be disappointed. You'll always be having the best of your reports and the results coming back to you. Why? Because the more you love, if you give this much amount of love to your books, the love will actually be coming back in this much amount from your textbooks or your study groups. Okay, so please worry about your future and the career right now. When it has to happen, it will happen. You don't have to feel the need to have a partner. When the partner, the right person comes, the person will come to you at the right time, and it will never be at the wrong time. The right person will knock on your doors only at the right time. Okay. Fourth attempt, all my study companions are gone. For NEET, can't start studying again. Yes, understandable. As I said, please take a break of 10 days to 15 days or 20 days, even 1 month. Take a break. Do not actually go back to the people who always hurt you. Do not talk to the people who will put you down. There are many people in your surroundings who can easily put you down. Do not give them any kind of respect. Please go to the people who always look at the good parts of you. If at all your friends are settled very much, there will be two types of friends. One group of friends will always be too arrogant to talk to you. The other group of people can be too nice to you and they'll actually give a very pity face. Did you not actually pass? Did not actually pass? Avoid both these kind of people, because both these kind of people will trigger the sadness inside you. You look at another group of people who are really very casual, funny. They don't actually make too much about their success. They also don't make too much about your failure. I repeat, go to the people who don't make much about their success and much about your failure. Go to those people who always show you where you stand. Go to those people who always tell you facts as fact. They call a spade a spade. They do not actually beat around the bush. If at all they are good friends, they will direct you to do what you have to do. Listen to those kind of friends. And those friends who actually try to tackle you in an emotional fashion and say, oh my God, maybe you have given 4 attempts. Why don't you actually go on with your life? Do not listen to them. It is up to you. See, if at all you want to do MD or MS in your life or DNB, then only think of doing your NEET exam and the preparation again. Again, if at all you want to stop NEET preparation also, it's not a great sin. Many people can tell you, how can you give up on that? Giving up on NEET does not mean giving up on life. Giving up on NEET is just called as giving up on the competitive exam and you want to get out of the rat race. But in case you feel you can give one more shot, take 20 days to 30 days break and freshly start again. When you sit with your books after 10 days or 30 days, it should be with a very calm mind. You should not have your past thoughts coming back to you. Do not entertain those kind of thoughts that actually raise in your mind. Your mind will start talking to you and ask you, hey, you studied this, but you still were not able to get the result. You studied these many number of hours, you didn't get the result. You actually worked out on all these things, you didn't get the result. You sat in the same spot, you didn't get the result. These questions will definitely pop up in your mind. Shut those voices and crush those voices and tell them that there was something that you missed in the previous preparation. When you sat in the same area, you were not able to focus completely on it. For example, you sat for 10 hours last time and you actually had an effective study period of 8 hours. This time make it as 16 hours of sitting there and 12 to 13 hours of undistracted study. The last time you read all the chapters once, this time revise them 3 times. Last time you had only 1 revision, you do 3 times revision this time. That is the kind of change you have to bring. Never distrust yourself, trust your instincts. You will be able to win. Hello sir, I'm from 20 batch. I have stuttering issues and can't do well in Vivas. Word limit. Okay. See, first try to meet a speech therapist and try to also perform audiometry for yourself. If you think stuttering has been a problem, you will also agree to the fact that the stuttering becomes the most whenever you are stressed out. When you're stressed out, more amount of information is going to the motor area where you have to deliver the words. Articulation may be a failure or coherence of the words may not be happening. The brain is not able to give you the thoughts in the sequential fashion, or even the brain is able to give the thoughts in the sequential fashion. Your muscles in your palate and the tongue are not able to act in synchrony to give you the right kind of words. So go to a speech therapist. Now how do you do that? You start practicing from low kinds of letters, simple words. Now what you do is take up a book from the speech therapist goals and you start reading those simple lines. Repeat some kind of words. There are some kind of tongue twisters, right? Try to do tongue twisters more and more. Sometimes even I stutter, sometimes even I lose words. So what I do, I slow down at that point of time. No matter how much amount of pressure comes to me, I slow down at that point of time and then make sure every syllable is pronounced very clearly. So whenever you feel like that kind of stuttering happens, what you do is you slow down the way you're trying to talk. Then you focus on each syllable. For example, supercalifragilistic is a word. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is a very long word that was coming in Mary Poppins. Now instead of saying supercalifragilistic, you say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Those people who have patience with you will always listen to you. Those people who know your trouble will never actually force you to actually read it. Especially in the Vivas, when you're saying, you can talk to the examiner first hand and you tell them, sir, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Please excuse me if I'm going to give you slow answers. Please have some patience with me. Forgive me for taking your time. If you could give me enough amount of time to listen to my answers, I'll be very grateful. I'll be eternally grateful to you because you are my guru. When you say that, nobody will actually be so cruel to say, no, I don't have enough time. You have to answer faster. Then take your time, talk to them. If they ask you a question, put your head down, close your eyes, think about the answer. If the answer comes to your mind, sometimes the answers may not come to even regular people also. If you're just stuttering, just because you're stuttering, it doesn't mean the answer is not coming to you. Even if people are not stuttering like you, still they'll be able to not give the right answers. So if the answer comes to you, whatever word that comes to your mind, pronounce every single syllable very tough and strongly. Then you will not be having much of a stutter. It may not happen overnight, but it can take some years. But finally, you will be a better person. Okay, all the very best. I pray for that for you. I keep forgetting things, I don't know why, both in academics and in personal life. Yes, I think I have answered the question just before this. So refer to the previous question that was raised for both personal and professional areas. Worried about medical school fees. Pay fees for the whole 5 years, though we have course till 4 years, 6 months. That is true. There is not much you can do about it. If at all you keep worrying about the fees, let your parents worry about the fees. If you're the earning member, maybe it is understandable that you work for it. Let the parents worry about it. Meanwhile, if you think your parents are spending that much amount of money for you, what is the best thing you can do for the parents? To study in such a way, you get results. The results become so beautiful. This is the kind of repay back that you can do for your parents. Try doing that. You will never feel guilty about it. And for the reason that you're saying that the last 6 months, why are you paying? Yes, true. Truth be said, every medical college has some kind of expenses to be borne, and the expenses will always be there to run a college, to run a hospital, starting from electricity bills to paying the people who are working there. So it means they will have a particular calculation based on which they'll be having it. So don't read much into it, because though you keep on worried about it, you cannot change things, right? So as I told you in one of the previous questions, if you can't change things, accept them. Accept them and just go along with the flow. Your life will become easier. All the very best. I don't know how to start loving the subject, hence how to start studying. Okay, let me give you my example for you. See, in first year MBBS, when I walked into the college, I was almost 1 month late, and there was a first internal exam that was happening. And when the first internal exam was happening, I was having only 2 days to read the portions. The portions were already done. It was, I remember, it was vitamins. So almost the B complex vitamins, A, D, E, and K, and C, all were there for the exams. And for every kind of vitamin, I had to read the biochemical reactions where the enzymes, so the coenzymes are supported by the vitamins, and I have to read the dietary sources and the clinical manifestations if there is a deficiency syndrome. In all these situations, I had to remember all these things, and I went for the exam hall. I read the whole night. That is the 2 days, the moment I joined, in the next 2 days I had the exam. For the next 2 days I kept on reading, and went to the exam hall. I passed. I got only 51% marks, but I passed. But I could see many other people preparing beautifully well. And I started hating the subject because it was a very tough subject for me. In 2 days, I was not able to do anything at all. When will you actually call a subject as a favorite subject? When that particular subject comes easily and sits on your lap. When it is easy for you compared to everybody else who calls a subject difficult, then you say it's a favorite subject. Or among all the subjects you're reading, the one subject that actually comes to you easy, that subject also becomes your favorite subject. That is the point where you will be able to love your subject very naturally. But unnaturally, how can you actually make sure a subject can become your favorite? Only when you start looking at the beautiful things. I told you the biochemistry was a very difficult subject, right? So this happened. I started focusing on reading a chapter for the first time fresh before they taught in a college. In my college, I was always lagging behind because I was 1 month late. Whenever I walk into a class, I wouldn't have actually read the previous portion, and I had to read the portion only after 2 or 3 weeks of finishing that. So I was always feeling lagging behind. So I wanted to break the cycle. What did I do? I picked up a chapter which was not taught in the curriculum at all till date. That is, till the days of my timetable was done, that chapter was not covered. It was diabetes. And when I started reading diabetes, it was slightly difficult for me to understand. But the moment I got a hang on it, I was able to roll with the subject very easily. Then I was able to realize that subject was brilliant. Now I started noticing the most important clinical features and the concepts. One such concept was when a mother is having diabetes, not just gestational diabetes, when the mother has diabetes and that diabetes was not noticed or treated. Because of no diagnosis, no treatment, the mother always had hyperglycemia. The hyperglycemia of the mother's blood was able to pass through the placenta. The glucose went into the child. The excess amount of glucose reaching the child was able to trigger insulin release. That insulin is actually an anabolic hormone. So what will the fetus do? The fetus insulin will be higher, and the insulin, as being an anabolic hormone, started synthesizing more amount of lipids and proteins, because of which the baby was able to grow big in size. That is called as big baby syndrome. Now this is called as macrosomia, and when the pregnant lady is able to deliver the child will be huge in size. Normally it can be up to 3.5 kilograms, right? This child can be 4 kilograms or 5 kilograms, and the pregnancy's delivery also can become difficult. Now I was able to read this, I just imagined it and I left it. In a matter of just 2 months after I finished my first year MBBS, I had gone for a wedding reception of one of my colleagues of my father. And when the whole wedding reception was over, when the colleague of my father came to say bye-bye to us when we were about to board a train, we both were sitting waiting for the train. And my father and my father's colleague both were discussing. Now I was able to overhear what they were talking, and he just mentioned a word saying that my father's colleague's wife was actually diabetic. I asked him a casual question. Really, uncle? Your wife was diabetic? Then this particular daughter who got married, was she born as a big baby? He said, yes. How do you know? And I said, was it very difficult during the time of labor? He said, yes. How did you know this? Oh my God, it's a miracle. Are you like an astrologer? How did you do this? At that point of time, I felt so proud of having read the subject of biochemistry in a clinical fashion. I was able to literally see the theory transforming into real life. And I was able to understand macrosomia even better, and I was able to understand and appreciate the significance of learning things. So you ask yourself, whatever you learn, are you able to apply it in real-time situations when you handle a patient, or at least in answering an MCQ? Take as many quizzes as possible if at all you like a particular subject or you want to like a subject. For example, you don't like ENT. You actually go to an ENT quiz and see how people are faring. In the initial 2 phases, you'll feel like you want to run away from the place because somebody is asking a question that you don't understand and somebody is answering the question also. Now, keep listening to it. Don't run away from that. Keep listening to what is happening. In any kind of quiz contest, the variety of questions will be beautiful. The applications of the subject will be beautiful. And the more you start learning, take notes out of this area. That will actually break the monotony of reading your textbooks. And if at all you go for any quizzes or attending an MCQ session, it will definitely show the application aspect of every single information you're learning. For example, I'll be running a lot of MCQ discussions. Take a particular chapter into consideration. For example, I run an MCQ discussion on rickettsia. If I run an MCQ discussion on rickettsia, you don't read rickettsia, you come to the MCQ discussion session. Try to answer. No matter how many mistakes you do, no matter how many questions you get wrong, just note what are the right answers and the right options from the given questions. Now then you go back and read your textbook, and now you will realize how exactly the textbook information is different from what you learned here. The same subject, the way you looked at it will become different. And when you start doing it, when you start looking at the results of what you're learning after reading the subject, after reading the same subject, then again take up an MCQ book and try to solve the MCQs. The moment you try to solve the MCQs, you'll realize how much you are able to use the information you learned, how much you are not able to apply, how much you're not even able to remember. When you do this, again you read the subject, that time you become a master. Once you become a master of the topic, you will never feel like quitting the subject. And that is how the success can be. And I have actually answered questions that I have received in the last 2 hours. And in case I receive more number of questions, I'll try to come back with another session to answer your queries. So do not worry. Life is a very simple process. If you keep it simple, life will be simple. And do not focus much on the negative aspects you have. Focus on the good things. Try to keep the bad things out. It is a very simple thing to say, but difficult thing to follow. When you keep focusing more on the good things, your life will be beautiful. When I'm going in the dark, when I'm driving a car, the opposite person will come in a high beam. Many times I become angry. I'll try to flicker the light to show, please bring down the high beam down. Sometimes people listen, sometimes the opposite person does not listen to me. So I stopped actually reacting to that person. Now I keep focusing only on the road. The high beam light will be hitting me from all directions, but I try to make sure I try to look at what is there on the dark road ahead of me. When I do that, the high beam fellow is not irritating to me anymore. So this is the one tip I can give you before I part. So I wish the best for you. May life give you a lot of happiness, peace and joy. All the very best. Have a good day.